Hello again and welcome to the Galen Snyder Show. I'm Vince Reed and along with Mike Samsel, who is our engineer, we're getting ready to bring you some information about the upcoming ball game tonight. And of course that matches up with the Pennsbury Falcons on the road against the Galloping Ghost of Abington. We're being brought to you by Aria Health, your neighbors here in Lower Bucks County. If you're in need, certainly the place to go is at Aria Health. Well, Coach, we're going to be going up to Abington. Our ball game tonight should be a dandy. You've got Abington coming in undefeated. Your ball club has lost just once, and both ball clubs are undefeated when it comes to the Suburban One League National Conference. It's one of the big games, certainly of the season, I think, for both of your ball clubs, you and Abington as well. And really, we've had some great ball games between the two of you here in recent years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Abington's has developed into one of our rival games, along with the Chamonix. I mean, I still think the Chamonix is our biggest rival, but we have started up quite a little rivalry with Abington as well. You know, they're a good team each and every year, and you know we understand what we're going to get every time we face them, and they also understand what they're going to get as well.
Well, when you look at it here, it's become, as you mentioned, you look at teams like yourself, you look at the Chamonix, and you certainly can throw Abington into the mix there because of the fact that all three of you are always lately right in the thick of things.
Yeah, Abington, the Chamonix, us, we always seem to be competing. Three of the teams competing for the league title, and three teams that usually end up in the playoffs as well. So it's a big game for both sides. We've had some great games over the years, some close games. Always have a lot of passion to them, and sometimes some controversy. So it always makes for an interesting game.
And when you look at it right now, you see where you stand here. You're 4-1 coming in. You're undefeated in the league so far. You're looking at it as a team that was young coming in, certainly very young when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. If you were to look back at it and say mid-season, you would like to have a record like this or have an opportunity to be in it all the way, being undefeated in the league, would you have thought this coming in with this group?
Well, I would have been, you know, if you told us we're going to be 4-1 and play like we've played, you know, which I think is, you know, we played pretty well for the most part. Yeah, I'd have taken it, no doubt about it.
When you look at this team here, and of course, the nice thing about it is we're able to talk about the three backs, who, of course, are the ones that took the ball most, and Snorway and Smith, and of course you've got Thompson as well. And looking at the stats there, your guys are just about equal. You're looking at everybody having like 400 yards or more among the three of them. That's pretty good. That's really, you know, dishing it out to everybody, giving everybody a chance and keeping the opposition on their toes.
Well, first of all, we feel like you know, our system lends itself to that. The wing T is a system where you don't really rely on one back for the most part. It's supposed to be all backs contributing, sharing the load, doing the blocking, running the ball as well, carrying out fakes, all those types of things. The other part is, you know, I think our offensive coaches and you know, our coordinator, Dave Sanderson, he does a real nice job of mixing it up, make sure that you know, we're spreading the ball around.
When you look at it too, Breon Clark is coming along nicely for you, and he certainly did show the last ball game that he can put it up there, and he's got receivers that can run under it and give you some nice big chunks of yardage in the air.
Yeah, we were real pleased with the way that Breon played. We expect him to continue to do so the rest of the season. I know it really. I will say, even in the early parts when we weren't completing passes, he's still valuable in the sense that he's a leader, and he does a good job handling the ball, and he also backs the defense off a little bit because there's always that threat that he can do some damage there. But last game, you know, he was very efficient, a couple touchdown passes, ran for another, and so we're pleased with him.
Yeah, that makes you, you have the full house backfield here, contributing really to what's going on. But of course, it all starts up front, as you had mentioned before, and as we know, and we mentioned about the up front guys here. And I think this is one of their big challenges coming up. They know that this is one where, you know, they got to win in the trenches in this ball game.
This is a big game for them, and we'll be tested. You know, Abington will be very aggressive on the defensive line. They'll take some chances. They'll do some unorthodox things. You know, they always do. They're very familiar with us. We're very familiar with them. So There'll be very little in the way of secrets. It'll just coming down to who can out execute the other guy.
When you're looking at the defensive side of the ball, what are you looking at from the perspective of what you expect now from this team? And your defense has to worry about. Anthony Lee is out, of course, with the leg injury. He's gone with a broken leg. But you got Brett Guagliona is doing a nice job for them. Matter of fact, he hit 4 or 5 receivers since he came in last week to let you know that he can spread it around as well.
Yeah, he was pretty impressive. They don't seem to miss a beat with him in there at quarterback. He can throw the ball, he can run. He seems a pretty good athlete, so they don't miss too much with him going in.
And you look at Craig Reynolds, you might say, I was saying that he was questionable. We'll see if he gets the start and gets to play in the ball game. He only was in on a few series last week. And of course, he's their top ground gainer for this ball club. They look to him on the ground.
They do. He is their top guy. You know, he's a senior. He's a real good ball player. They have some other weapons as well. I mean, they got a number of guys with some speed who can catch the ball out of the backfield, who can run down the field and catch it. They have a young kid, Snyder, who his brother was their star a couple of years ago. He's only a sophomore. So they have other guys that they can go to when it comes to handling the ball, running the ball, this type of thing.
If you see as the game unfolds and gets underway, if Reynolds only plays some or doesn't play at all, does that lead you to believe there'll be more balls in the air than you anticipate coming into this game?
You probably would think so. You know, if you lose your top rusher, you probably would look to maybe mix it up a little bit. I know he ran a ton against Rock North, and so we'll see. Last week, of course, he seemed like he was nursing an injury a little bit, so we'll see. If he's not in there, yeah, I would expect him to throw the ball up there a little bit.
But what you've seen as far as that goes, you know how your line has reacted so far this year to the teams that they have played. When you look at the line for this ball club, I know a couple of years ago they had a really good line, a big line, and they were a tough team. What do you think about this line this time for Abington this year?
Well, last year they seemed to be a little young. We beat them up pretty good last year, but they seem to be, Ben Salem's got a good running game. They contain them fairly well. Ben Salem got one drive, where they drove it down and scored. But other than that, I thought they did a pretty good job against the run. So it'll definitely be a challenge for us. And then on the other side of the ball, their offensive line has some good size. They work well together. They run their power scheme and counter scheme, their zone scheme. They do a pretty good job.
All right, we're going to be back with more here with, of course, the Galen Snyder Show as we're getting ready for the Pennsbury Ball Club taking on the Abington Ball Club tonight, and this will be at the Galen and Ghost home field. We'll be back for more right after this.
At an orthopedic institute, world-class specialists, surgeons, and technology are a must. Personal care is too. The Aria 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City, Bucks County, and South Jersey. With over a century of experience, the 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For joint replacement, sports medicine, spine care, and more, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the Aria 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
We're back once again here with the Galen Snyder Show. I'm Vince Reed, and of course, we're brought to you by Aria Health, your neighbors here in Lower Bucks County. If you're in need, certainly, of their expertise, do go to Aria Health. If anything comes up with you and you're concerned about as far as that goes physically and you want to get something treated, go to Aria Health. They'll take care of you in fine shape. Their concern is for you. As far as that goes, coming into tonight's ball game, we're looking at two teams that have battled, as we said, tough against one another in this ball game. What do you think, should be able to click for your ball club? You're doing the things that you're supposed to do. You're running the ball with everybody and throwing it up there once in a while. What do you think, from what you see from the defense, that possibly you can do to them offensively?
Well, we've had some pretty good success. You mentioned the one time a couple of years ago where they, I thought they had a real tough defense. We had trouble with them in the regular season.
Right.
Ended up doing some things and beating them in the playoffs. But they do a good job on D. Their defensive coordinator Collins has always had him ready to go. He's at Penn State. The guy who played at Penn State. And, So they do a nice job there. We've always though been able to, establish our run game against them over the years. We've always seemed to be able to do that. But it hasn't been without a battle. I mean, it's definitely, they come out, they really play emotional against us. They really try to get every advantage they can, take some gaps, time up snap counts and things like that. Hope they don't get called on it. It's always it always makes for an interesting game, especially early on. I'm sure when we're up there in the first quarter, it'll be interesting. All kinds of things going on.
And one of the things too with this ball club coming in, you look at them and they've been on a high, and maybe they kind of slacked off a little bit, not slacked off, but the fact that they met some competition that was a little tougher here in the last week or so. And certainly Ben Salem, you got to give them a lot of credit. They played them extremely tough. They played great defense against them, limited them to just 19 points. And the Gals, as it turns out, used to be a ball club that maybe at the beginning of the season you'd be afraid of them. Now they seem to be coming on a little bit later on, and I think maybe this Abington team took them a little bit lightly too.
You never know. Maybe they did. I think if you look at Ben Salem, they've got pretty good size. They got a couple. Their backs. The one back's real big. He's physical and fast, and the other one's pretty physical and quick as well. So. I wouldn't think, that I'm sure the coaching staff didn't take them lightly. Maybe the kids did. Sometimes you tell the kids over and over and over.
As you found out yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tell them it, and they either believe it or they don't. And you're not going to change their mind on those things. So, but give Ben Salem credit. Ben Salem's always been a tough team to play against. Going back. I mean, we watch all of our games. We've always had dog fights with them. Of course, their head coach for many years, Dan McShane, is our current defensive coordinator, and a couple other guys who were on staff are helping out with the defense here. And they always put forth teams that you knew you were going to be in a battle with them. They had tough kids over there, so that didn't surprise me, to be honest with you. That game was the way it was.
Yeah, and taking a look at as we're talking about this Galloping Ghost Ball Club, and if they don't have Reynolds in there, they don't have a great ground game going for you. Your thought about what your defense has done, whether it's against the pass or it's against the run, that's come along really nicely. We saw, that it was young, inexperienced in the Easton ball game. I was kind of surprised myself how quickly, really, I think they kind of caught on to how things were going, because in the second and third games, they improved greatly, and I think you can see the improvement from game to game, and I think that's one thing that maybe in this ball game, they might be seeing it aired out a little bit more than usual in some of the teams they played. But what are your thoughts about the fact that the way this defense has responded?
Well, it's funny, we're just talking about some of the things that Abington's dealing with right now, injury-wise, and we've been dealing with those types of things on defense the entire season. I mean, it's a shame when the kids get hurt. You never want to see kids get hurt. And obviously, we would rather have all of our kids ready to go versus all their kids.
Right.
In a perfect situation, that's the way we would like to do it. So we can certainly empathize, and I'll say it right the third time, with them in their situation. We've been struggling with that all season long. In addition to being young, and having two starters back, but our young kids have really come along. Our coaches have done a great job bringing them along, and this is definitely a big challenge for them going into this week with Abington, a team that I think they're averaging pretty much where we are offensively, which is about 35 points a game. So it's going to be a challenge, obviously, for both defenses from that standpoint.
And you have a team here that, as we said, the nice diversity is. You mentioned in this offense for you, it's a case of everyone touching the ball, but you've had years where you've kind of led to one guy who's really been the go-to guy when you've had one guy really doing a lot for you, and now you've got a situation where it's a situation where you got three that you can count on plus your quarterback. So it's got to feel good that the defense has got to be concerned. It's not concerning about one or two guys. You got to be concerned about all four.
Well, yeah, there was a day when Jackson Fagan was our running back, and
right.
People just used to focus on him. It didn't matter though; they still couldn't stop him. When you had a guy like Jackson on the team, that's you can get away with that, But I think we've always done it. If you remember back in the day, we used to have Branham and Lee and
Right.
Parks and Ronaldo. Remember that crew? And we had Fisher and Brown and some of those guys playing on the team together. So we've always had a pretty good mix-up. Last year we had Mack, and we had Clark, and we had Pepper, and those types of guys. And so we've all, with the wing tee, you always get a little bit of that going. Now, obviously, last year probably a lot of the focus was on Pepper, and then the year before, I bet you a lot of the focus was on Mack.
Yeah, exactly.
But this year it seemed to be spreading out pretty well.
All right, ready to be back with more here with Galen Snyder in just a moment.
The Aria 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on Aria Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the Aria 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.